I caught my wife in bed with another man, but her plan to steal my money backfired, and now she's begging for mercy. I have been with her for 5 years and married for 2. In those 7 years, everything for me was great. When we first met, it was love at first sight. I loved her more and more each year. My friends even made fun of me for my changed character when I was with her. Before meeting her, I was usually a cold, fought, and very hard man. My character changed from my experience in the army and due to my parents' influence. I have never been so vulnerable with anyone apart from her. So, in these 7 years, everything for me was perfect. I was doing a job that was paying me very well. I finally had some money, and I was extremely in love with the woman of my dreams. I thought I was smart enough to make a trust, where I put all my money and properties, giving my best friend and my sister the rule of executors. I did this because my best friend was divorced and had to split all his money and properties with his ex-wife, who never contributed to pay a single cent. I did this to be protected from a possible, but at that time, impossible divorce and for emergencies. At that time, I wasn't financially stable, so I needed a security net. Then, before the marriage, we both agreed to do a prenup where the only condition was that if someone cheated, she wouldn't receive any alimony, which is legal in my country. The thing is that when she proposed this to me, I was a bit in shock because I never thought for 1 second to cheat on her or that she would cheat on me. It went out of the blue, but I accepted it. The first year of marriage was perfect. We were wealthy, thanks to my job that was paying very well. We were renting a very big and nice house, enjoying our life, doing amazing experiences, going to amazing places for vacations, and meeting new people and friends. Unfortunately, the second year wasn't so good because I started to work with my company to sign a very big client. I admit that I was using all my energies for my work, and I told her this, but she was okay because my work was our first and only resource of money. Since she wasn't having any intention to work, she just wanted to be a stay-at-home wife. Anyway, I knew that my work was getting difficult, and I was always tired after it, but I tried my best to make her happy and satisfied. Unless the stressing period about 6 months, in fact, many times I put aside my personal life to prioritize her over myself, just to not make her sad, feeling alone and without attention. My routine was getting up very early in the morning, gym, making breakfast for her, work coming home, and preparing her dinner, and then spending time with her instead of relaxing. I went like this for 6 months, and after the client finally signed with us, I booked a 2-month vacation in her favorite place, Paris, to release stress and tension. The vacation went very well because I thought that we became stronger and more in love with each other. But when we came back home, I noticed that she was changing. She became distant, cold, and always looking at the phone instead of talking with me like before. I tried to talk to her about this many times, but her excuse was personal problems and stress, so I let it slide. This went for 6 months. One day, I was having a very important meeting where the big boss was about to announce the ride-in. So I was nervous because finally, my hard work and dedication were about to pay off with a big rise. In fact, I had a rise of 30% on my salary because of the sign with the big client. And after the meeting, I told my coworkers that I was about to take a couple of days of vacations to celebrate the important news, and they all agreed. So that day, I went home early to give the announcement to my lovely wife. But when I parked my car, I heard very loud voices of someone who was doing sex coming from my house. But I thought that I heard wrong because my wife would be shopping with her friend. Until while I was getting near to the door, I heard her voice, so I took a moment to tail out my phone and record the scene. When I entered, the end of the world happened. I caught her having sex with a random guy, and when I called her name, the shock on her face was just absolutely priceless. After I entered and I recorded like 1 minute, the guy sneaked out of our house partially bare and with clothes in his hands, leaving my wife covered with a cushion. I swear to God, I wanted to destroy everything, but I just was in shock and didn't say anything. I went to my room to pack all my stuff, and she started angrily to accuse me of cheating and that all this wasn't real and that I was just dreaming. Thinking now, what she was saying was just absurd and with 0 sense. I took like 30 minutes to pack my stuff and drove away. When I left that house, I just had a sense of relief, and it felt like all my anger and tension were getting away. I stayed in a hotel for some days while my phone was bombarded with calls and texts from her. I ignored everything and changed my number. After a few more days, I contacted a lawyer and told him all about the situation. He said, "You are a smart guy. I can guarantee that apart from having half of your money, she wouldn't get anything else from you." So, after a few months of no contact, I sent her the divorce papers. In those months of no contact, I heard that she found a job to barely maintain the house. When she got my divorce papers, she went to a meeting with her lawyer and mine, with a big smile on her face. She said, "I did the right thing cheating on you. I will have all your money, and I wouldn't work for the rest of my life." Me and my lawyer smiled at each other, and he put the printed agreement on the table. She immediately understood her mistake. She would only have half of my money and nothing else. Then, she started to cry and beg me to forgive her, saying it was just a little mistake, that she loves me, and this kind of stuff. This scene went on for 20 minutes, and finally, she signed the papers. She realized that the money she would have would only be enough to pay for 5 months of rent for our house, and that she was screwed up while I was going out of the place. She ran behind me, repeating all the stuff. It was a mistake. She loves me. I must forgive her. And all this crap, coming to nowadays, I met a new girl and we have been dating for a few months. I'm happy. I have my work that pays me well, and my life is happy again. From what I heard, she stayed at our old house for some months until the money was over, and now she is living in a small apartment near her new job. Of course, she tried again to contact me, but I never answered her texts and calls because I don't feel anything for her, just indifference. I still thank my best friend for his advice about the trust. P.S. Sorry for my English, but it's not my first language, so I tried my best. Some relevant comments. How did she keep texting if you changed your number? I still don't understand why he was smiling that she got half his money, or why she thought she was going to get all of it. I guess she got half, but he was putting most of it in a trust. Except there is no way the trust would withstand a challenge if he's essentially defrauding her of what would be marital assets by putting them all in the trust. So you worked yourself to the bone to afford her a life of luxury, while doting on her hand and foot, preparing breakfast and dinner, etc., allowing her to be a stay-at-home wife without kids, I'm assuming, and live life with absolutely no responsibilities. And she repays you by not only cheating on you but doing it in your own bed. Congratulations! Aside from the 7 years, which let's face it is a blip in time compared with "till death do us part," you dodged the bullet of biblical proportions and saved yourself decades of financial destruction and emotional torture. Story 2. So I, a 38-year-old male, caught my 31-year-old wife cheating on me with a work colleague. I never saw it coming. It has absolutely devastated me. I gave my heart and soul to this woman. I felt like she was my soulmate, and now I feel like I was just tossed aside after 10 years of marriage. My wife was someone to me who had courage, strength, and integrity, or so I thought. These values are what really attracted me to her, and now I don't think I even know this person anymore. She completely denies cheating, and it hurts that she can't be honest with me. I gave up so much to be with her. I moved to a new continent to be with her, gave up my career, my family, friends, and now I am all alone in a foreign country. One could say maybe it was something that I did, but I was a really good husband, loving, caring, helping her family with major issues where I could, to support both her family and her. I encouraged her to further her education, put her through college and beauty school to encourage her talents. Most of all, though, I just loved her and cared for her well-being when she had bad days at work or with family. I was there to support her. I trusted her completely. I wasn't a perfect husband, but I did my best. I never screamed, shouted, abused her in any way, shape, or form, and never stepped out on her either. I came from a broken home, and my father was the worst person to me and my mom, so I made it my life's mission to be better and nothing like him. The last 6 months in our relationship have been rough. I could feel her pushing me out of her life. She never had time for me and was never home, always out with her friends or at some event that I wasn't invited to. Work trips, I was working 5 days a week, doing the chores around the house wherever I could, just so we could spend more time with one another. Eventually, I had a breakdown and said, "I think we should see a couples counselor." She turned the entire thing on me, talking about my insecurity, lying about events, and gaslighting me to the point where I was doubting myself. I took it in my stride and saw a therapist. She went on a work trip a few weeks after the sealing, and a week later, I found evidence of an affair. I called a private eye to get me some more information and got what I needed to confirm everything. So, we have applied for the divorce. I just want to get on with my life, but where from here? I feel like I could never love anyone the same way. I feel jaded by the whole thing. All I have are questions that I want answered. How long has this been going on? Were there others? What made her do it? What changed the way she saw me? Why wouldn't I wish this feeling upon anyone, not even my worst enemies? This is a scar so deep. I'm at the stage where I'm trying to move on, moving to my own place. But where to from there? I'm going to throw myself back into hobbies that I once did before I got married, and exercising, and getting out to meet people because I have no one here. She was my world, but what's next? How do I love again? How do I go about moving on without hurting someone who cares for me because I couldn't let go of this pain? How have others recovered? I resolved to never take her back, cutting off communication after the divorce to her and her family. Life is too short to be with a liar and a cheat advice for anyone. Look at your accounts weekly. Keep a diary of you and your partner's daily plans. It's all there, but sometimes we are just naive in our trust. Thanks for reading. I just want to thank everyone for the love and support. The way I have felt until today is lost and completely alone, and now I know I am not. You all have really saved me. Relevant comments reading your post sent shivers down my spine. I went exactly through what you went through. Was a dedicated husband, supported my wife for studies, and then this happened. I have nothing much to offer you except a hug. The thing I've learned through this is that you are much more than what you make yourself believe. The initial days would be tough. Just keep pushing yourself out of bed. Do chores even if you feel this gut-wrenching pain. Stay near to friends and family if it's possible. Cut off from her in every way possible. Take it one day at a time. Pick yourself up, and the world will make things fall your way. Godspeed. How exactly did you catch her? If she still feels like denying it, could it be believable to move on? You have to rebuild your life. And that doesn't necessarily mean getting back to normal in the sense of doing exactly what you used to do before the relationship. It might include some of those things while it seems impossible right now. You will learn to again. Time heals, but there will always be scars and painful memories. I caught her with the evidence from the private eye, but there were a few things that tipped me off, which is when I pulled in the PI. Her behavior before and after using her work phone while going for walks, protection in her nightstand, and some transaction for the middle of the day when she was meant to be at an event for a company that has a no-alcohol policy on work events. This transaction at a bar was right next to the hotel where she's staying and 30 minutes away from the event. I spoke to a friend about this who went through something similar, and his ex still denies it to this day, even though he found the images on her phone of her messing around with some dude. Was she eager for the divorce, or shocked, or tried to talk you out of it? While I asked for the divorce, she hasn't stopped it. She was quick to get hold of a lawyer and has asked to keep the house. Why does she get to keep it? She doesn't, but she made her intentions loud and clear. Oh my God, not again. Can somebody please tell me why? And I'm not talking about, oh boy, girlfriend of 1 to 2 years cheated, but it's frequently a spouse that was so respectful, kind, many years together, and now I don't know him, her. She is a different person. Like, please. Does someone know what causes this shock of 180 degrees change? I wish I knew, so I don't repeat my mistakes in future relationships. Story 3. I found out my wife was cheating on me emotionally last week. I found it through a notification when she was in the shower. We are both 33 and married for 6 years. In my eyes, everything was good. Funny how one can hide their betrayal without the other party noticing. I confronted her right away and told her to open the phone to show me the messages. She refused first, but gave up after I told her we are getting a divorce. The texts were not that old, and there were not many. It was obvious most of the texts were deleted. I asked her questions about the affair. Why, who, where, how. I will not go into details as I want to stay anonymous, but I did get the truth in the end. She got caught in the trickle truth. Me, I do not believe her in what she said about the extent they went to at the beginning of our relationship. I made it very, very clear that cheating in any form is a relationship ender. I told her to get a lawyer because we are getting divorced. She asked for marriage counseling, promised to change, and even made her life completely dependent on me. She offered to leave her job, not leave the house, and give me all of her digital devices. I told her that marriage counseling could have helped, but it would have been before she decided to have an affair. We could go to marriage counseling and solve the problem by talking about whichever issue she had. Instead, she went on to have an emotional affair and made sure to actively hide things from me by deleting texts and trickle-truthing. I reminded her of my boundaries and what I told her about them at the beginning of the relationship. I will hand the divorce papers to her this month, and she is telling me to reconsider. Am I the idiot in this situation? Some comments. If you made your boundaries very clear to her and you are sure that she broke them, why are you here? If you do go for marriage counseling, be prepared to hear some things about yourself that you might not want to hear. On one side, my logic wants to get validated, while my heart wants to hold on to a hope. Last week has not been easy for me. Love is there, but trust is not. Plus, getting to write it here is relaxing. I'll probably hear about these in the individual therapy. Thanks for the comment. The number of words in the original copy provided is less than 500 words, so I will segment and punctuate the text accordingly, ensuring that each paragraph does not exceed 500 words and that the total word count remains the same. The problem isn't the idiot. The trickle of truth is the problem that makes reconciliation a non-starter. You can't trust her. All the things she is willing to do now are band-aids. Who wants to be married to someone who can't have a life outside of you because they might cheat again? She made her choice. Don't let her drag out the inevitable. This is why, if they come to me and confess, I might consider at least listening. If I had to dig out oak roots to get the full story, you can't repair the damage. This is exactly why I got divorced. The cover-up was worse than the crime. I don't need to spend the rest of my life playing Nancy Drew about the idiot. You clearly stated a boundary and what the consequences would be. Now she's shocked that you actually meant what you said. Divorce her and get her out of your house. Update. It's 100% divorce now. I think I was looking to relax and validate my logic with that post. Love is there, but trust is broken. My heart told me to have hope, but my logic told me to divorce. Logic won in the end. It has been over a week now, and I still do not get the full information about the affair. Yesterday night and this morning, after the post, I came to learn new information about the affair. I am still not sure if it's the full extent. To clarify, the emotional affair part included sending bears to each other, and there were "I love yous" involved. If it's not cheating, I do not know what is. I still do not know the full truth, and she refuses to disclose exactly who this AP is. My trust level for her is so low that she could say the sky is blue, and I would doubt it. This relationship is just over. I will go ahead with the divorce as soon as possible, so I can process my feelings alone after she leaves. Some people told me I would not be able to find anyone at 33 as a male. This is the last thing I worry about after divorce. The first thing is to get over the relationship and put myself together better than ever. I am planning to start individual therapy right after I sort things out. I can date after that easily. I hope to see you with a happy divorce update and in a better mood. Relevant comments. She won't tell you who the AP is, probably to protect him, and she is still choosing him. But she has the goal to ask you to not divorce. She is still hiding details, and most likely those details are the physical aspect of the affair. I highly doubt they were telling each other, "I love you," without there being physical cheating going on. You are absolutely making the right decision. Good for you. It's good you kept to your principles. Get proof of the affair. It will help in making that decision and sticking to it. This is very difficult, and you've made the first step, which is amazing. You probably will never find out the full truth. I'm divorcing my wife now for very similar circumstances. You will find someone else at 33. There's literally billions of fish in the sea. I totally agree. 33, looking good, feeling good, earning good, attentive. I think people who told you this are NL, and they are projecting their situation onto you. You made the right decision. It wasn't merely an emotional affair. It was physical also, if not physical per se. But I think since it involved their physical bodies, pictures, and masturbation, that's enough to call it physical, even if you call it merely emotional. I've emotionally cheated before, didn't mean to, and I made sure I learned every damn thing I could from it. What I can tell you from my own experience is that there is a point where after the emotional sharing, confiding, expressions of affection, or even just the amount of time devoted gets to be too much. You will at some point think, "Oh, Maybe I shouldn't tell my ES how involved they've become. They won't be happy once you make that choice to hide stuff. You're in it then. You're cheating. You can't claim, oops, it just happened. I made a series of choices, little ones that escalate. It was 100% my fault for not setting the boundary and for continuing with the affair for weeks, months, years, whatever means hiding and lying to your so to their face every minute of every day. And if you can live with yourself doing that over and over, you are remorseless. There can be no forgiveness. It's beyond the point of no return. You are right to divorce. Of course, I'm sorry she did this to you.